Welcome to the Scale the Chaos podcast, where we talk all things contributing to your organization's chaos and dysfunction. I'm Rhonda Lea, founder and owner of Scale the Chaos. My guest today is Chrystina Katz. She is here to talk to us about being gutsy with your business, dealing with your fear of change, and fostering a gutsy culture that will grow your bottom line. Welcome, Chrystina.
Thank you. And thank you for having me here. This
Well,
is fun working with you like this, Rhonda.
yeah, I'm really excited to have you here. What are some of the barriers that you
Mm.
found to fostering a gutsy business environment?
Two main ones. One is a lack of confidence,
Yeah.
and
Okay.
that can be from the top
Yes.
on down because we know the top of the pyramid sets the stage.
Mm-hmm.
And if the business owner or the C-suite has some personal lack of confidence,
Yes.
whether it's in each other, it's in
Mm-hmm.
themselves, it's in others downstream, that's a big barrier
Yeah.
right there. And that takes vulnerability to
Mm-hmm.
be able to, one, recognize it as self-awareness, and then to speak about it and do something with it, whether that's coaching or having consultants come in, whatever that might be.
Yeah.
The second one is the opposite. Too much ego,
Yes.
that their minds are closed. They got this, they know everything.
Yes. Yeah.
And that,
And everybody else knows nothing. The
yes.
worst leaders are the ones who not only think they're the smartest in the room, but they're intimidated if they're not. And I've worked with some of
Mm,
those in the past as well. And that can definitely be a barrier for sure. Because even if somebody does have a great idea and they sense that, almost like they say animals can sense your
sense
fear.
fear.
If
Yeah.
you sense that in your own manager, you're not going to be gutsy and share those ideas.
Gutsy businesses need leaders who are comfortable with failure.
Mm-hmm.
Eh,
Yeah.
When we watch or listen to interviews with Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk,
Mm-hmm.
Oprah, Warren Buffett, all
Yes.
of them talk about failing forward.
Yes.
They
Yes.
failed so many times. We don't know about those. Some we
Some
might
of
know
them because
some
they share.
failures.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
the public, the media,
Yeah. That
etc.
too.
Yet there's a whole bunch of other failures, small, medium, and large, that happen we may not be aware of. And it just takes that one big success.
Yeah.
But it took a lot of failures to get there. And so gutsy businesses, gutsy leaders need to be comfortable with
Yeah.
failure. And that's their own
Yeah. And
as
it really should come as almost a badge of honor, right? Anytime we hear anybody speak, especially if they're trying to be inspirational, oftentimes they're far more relatable when they talk about how
yeah,
they failed and
yeah,
then overcame that failure, right? We don't
right,
want to listen to people who've never failed. We don't want to hear about people who've always been perfect and always been successful. That's not relatable. Even
right.
Russell Brunson in his books talks about this as the attractive character, right? In attracting customers to your business is being relatable
Yeah,
through your failures.
absolutely.
So, how can leaders balance being gutsy with maintaining team confidence and stability?
Great question, because it's hard. They have to
Yes.
be gutsy to even do this
Yes.
because it includes transparency. It
Mm-hmm.
includes vulnerability. It includes being open to hearing hard things that they may not want to hear,
Yeah.
whether it's about them, about something that they've put out there, something that they've done, brainstorming on what could be done differently and being open to those answers. It doesn't
Yeah.
mean they have to accept everything, but at least being open to the ideas. And like you said earlier, crazy idea that they come up with could spark something else that is
Yes.
brilliant and
Yes.
doable. And the other thing, maintaining team confidence and stability, is utilizing the talent that they've
Mm-hmm.
hired and keeping tabs on where are they growing? What do they want? People change over
Yes.
time. Their
At least you
strengths
hope so.
grow.
Yeah. You hope so. That's the whole goal.
And that may have to come from the business
Yep.
owner to show that the business owner is open to learning. And the interesting thing is, so many businesses prioritize learning lower. They prioritize
Mhm.
numbers higher and
Yep.
learning lower. But learning can help make things more efficient,
Oh,
can
absolutely.
help
Yeah.
technology be utilized more. So the more investment is put into the people to
Yes.
learn, and of course, to learn the right things that are
Mhm.
related, but also
Mhm.
building on their strengths
Yeah.
and even their personal goals.
Yeah.
That can help maintain the team confidence in the leader,
Yeah.
and
Mhm.
then the leader is learning about the team, the members, and seeing them grow.
Yes. And
And
I talk about that and I have a workshop where I talk about this too, because technically your employees are not only your biggest asset, but technically they're your first customer, right? They're the face of the company, right? And
yeah,
so investing in them, it definitely builds loyalty. And I have statistics, I don't have them off the top of my head right now, but the more you invest, the more
yes,
productive they are, the more productive they are.
yes,
It's if you give a mouse a cookie, right? The more you invest, the more productive they are. The more
yes,
productive they are, the
yes.
better they perform, and the more output, and the more output. Anyways, it eventually ends with more profit, right? And long,
Term strategy,
yes,
which so many business owners are always looking at the short term.
yeah. And until, because I have worked for organizations where it has gotten so bad that they are losing customers left and right because the employees don't
Yes.
have the proper training to actually adequately do their job. It frustrates the customers, so they leave. And
Or
at
they don't
that point,
care.
yeah. And at that point, the business leaders have no choice but to invest in training or go out of business. And I have worked with organizations where it had to almost come to that before there was any kind of formal anything put in place. And at that point, you're just trying to put out the fire instead of actually avoiding the fire.
Which could have been avoided with that
Oh yeah,
longer term vision of the
exactly.
people. There's a third one to that. You said training them, going out of business, but another one, and we've seen it, is business owners that think this strategy works, which I don't get, but I continue to see it. Fire everybody, will
Oh
start
yeah,
over.
that's ego because those people don't want to admit that they're part of the problem. They want to think
Yes.
that everybody else is the problem. And yes, I have seen that as well.
Mm.
And yeah, it just blows my mind because they clearly and they're going to find themselves in the same situation. They're going to hire new
Right.
people and they're going to fire and then they're going to end up firing. Yeah, I work with a lot of obviously organizations that are in chaos and dysfunction and most of the time it starts at the top. Guess who
Yes.
hired me? The person at the top. Right? So it's like how do I tell them that it's them, right? And so you really do
Mhm.
have to go into those crucial conversations and you have to be delicate about it. But there are some that are just not open and willing to hear it. They get defensive for whatever reason
Yeah.
and it really does come down to ego.
Sounds like you have to be gutsy from time to time with your
Oh,
clients
not just time to time. Not just
because they're
time.
open to a point,
Oh,
and then you're hitting these
yeah.
boundaries and you might have to
Yeah.
try
Yeah,
to open
because
them up.
a lot of times they're bringing me in and they're saying, "Hey, our processes are broken. You're a processes person. Come in and fix our processes." And I get in and I go, "Okay, yeah, your processes are broken, but so are a lot of other things. And
Yes.
I can fix your processes, but it's not going to fix your problem." And also, I'm shocked at how oblivious a lot of business leaders are to the fact to all the things around them that affect their processes that literally sabotage their ability to scale, right? That's what I talk about,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
And getting them to understand that because a lot of it comes down to pride and it really depends on you can say it in the most delicate fashion because you can't sugarcoat it because then they don't get it at all. But you can
Mhm.
still say it in the most delicate fashion and if they're determined that they're not the problem, then they're not the problem. But the beauty of it is I'm not an employee, so I can give them my opinion and move on.
You can be the
Right?
objective
Yeah, the
consultant
objective.
for them
Yeah.
and let them know they need to get out of their own way.
Yeah, exactly. Stop being the bottleneck. And this kind of also goes into the next thing I want to talk about, and that is the fear. Because
Mm.
really, because the ego kind of plays into this fear, but what other things play into this fear in preventing gutsy business moves?
Their background,
Okay.
previous experience,
Yeah.
things like imposter syndrome,
Mm-hmm.
lack of confidence, all of these things that as humans we deal with at
Mm-hmm.
some level.
Yes.
Some it's small, some it's larger. And yet those fears can multiply over the years with failures and successes.
Mm-hmm.
So the fear part is huge. And yet being gutsy means recognizing the
Uh-huh.
fear, not being closed minded, and then working through the fear.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes that we have to go to a therapist. I'm
Yep.
a coach, and sometimes I have to recommend a
Yeah.
therapist
Yeah.
because
Yeah. Because you're
not my
not a
scope of
therapist.
work.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly. Yeah. Well,
And
and
at the same
yeah.
time, can still coach them
Yeah.
with taking action, get off the fence, feel
Yes.
that fear, do the research, plan ahead, and
Mm-hmm.
then take even small
Yeah.
actions.
And the more they do it, the easier it will get. And the reason
Yes,
I say that is
absolutely.
because I know in my own experience, yeah, something may look good on paper and it may make sense on paper, but when implemented, it never translates exactly how it looks on paper, right? There's always these unknown factors. We try to mitigate those as much as we can, but it's just impossible to do that. But the more I do it and the more success I see, the more I realize, okay, yeah, maybe it won't go exactly how it looks on paper, but we're still going to have some success. And not even just some success. We're still going to have success. And that's way further down the path than where we are right now, if we
Mhm.
don't even try, right?
We don't even try. And that's the important thing. And being open for unexpected
Mm-hmm.
opportunities. So
Yes.
it's getting on that pathway and keep looking forward. Just keep looking forward and occasionally we'll look behind and then keep going forward because there'll be another fork in the road and
Mm-hmm.
then another fork in the road.
Yeah. And I like how you say the opportunities because luck is where preparation and opportunity meet. So, yeah, you have to be prepared. You have to do the preparation before the opportunities come up. Otherwise, you'll just miss them completely.
Yeah.
What are some personal development strategies that you recommend for becoming gutsy or business leader?
Self-awareness,
Okay. I love
learning,
that.
constantly learning. So again, I'll say this
Hmm.
with the strengths, also DISC.
Yes.
DISC is all about communication styles, and we
Hmm.
all have all four in us. It's
Yeah.
just we have them in different amounts, and sometimes we can be one way at home and another way at work.
Yeah.
So it's being aware of our own styles
Hmm.
and the strengths in them and the areas that are not so strong.
Yeah.
And then also recognizing other styles and how we can work together in
Yes.
collaboration. So other personal development is, again, I like books because they help us think about other areas. When it comes to change, this is a classic.
Okay. So the
Who
Who Moved
moved
My
my
Cheese. I love it.
cheese?
Yep.
And it's been around for a long time. When I was in the corporate world, this was given to every single person in the company, every
Yes.
single
Yeah.
person, because then we were all using the same language and we all
Hmm.
read the same story. And then we utilized this for joking around. Are you
Uh-huh.
being this person or that person that
Yep.
was in the
Yeah.
story?
Somebody comes in, they're in a bad mood. Oh, somebody moved their cheese.
Yes,
Right?
exactly. And it creates its own vocabulary
Did somebody move your
terminology.
cheese? Is that why we're
Uh-huh.
having a case of the Mondays, right?
Absolutely. And the book Feel the Fear and Do It Anyway
Hmm.
from Susan Jeffers. Also knowing our goal. What's our mission? What's
Yes.
our vision? What do we want to be doing at 50, 60, 70, even 80
Yes.
years old? Because that can drive us through those moments of,
Yeah.
no, I don't want to do this. Oh, wait a minute. Okay, I really want to get on that stage, or I really want this to be big, like
Yeah.
Amazon.
Uh-huh.
And that will push people through that temporary,
Uh-huh.
short term fear. So constant personal development is needed
Yes.
to grow our confidence, grow our techniques and our skills. So when the time comes, we can be gutsy without being reckless,
Yes.
being gutsy.
Yes. So how can individuals cultivate a gutsy mindset in their professional lives? Not just as business leaders, but just individuals in their professional lives.
Continue to learn, continue to take
Okay.
training, consider getting an objective, certified, experienced kind of coach.
Okay.
Credibility, really
Uh-huh.
important.
Yes.
Stretch the comfort zones.
Yes, I like that.
It's really about getting comfortable
Mm-hmm.
being uncomfortable.
Yes.
You get a promotion. That's uncomfortable for a while, but you got the
Uh-huh.
promotion.
Yeah.
And we have to go through that. The skills that got us to this level
Mm-hmm.
won't get us here.
Nope.
We have to learn new skills in there and learn and push ourselves and push those comfort zones.
I love it. Yeah. Get
And that
outside
takes
the
time
comfort
and
zone.
investment.
Yeah. Okay. So what's the one thing, if there was one thing that you could tell every business leader about being gutsy, what's the one thing you wish they knew about being gutsy in business?
Being gutsy is required
Yes.
to run a business.
Yes.
In general, they were gutsy
Yeah,
to start the business in the first place,
that's
but
true.
somewhere along the
Yeah.
line, this happened.
Yes.
So it's a basic need, characteristic of a successful
Yeah.
entrepreneur.
And I think even though a lot of them were gutsy to start the business,
Mhm.
sometimes they get into it having no idea how hard it is, right? How much
Yeah,
it
that
takes.
is
And
true.
so they get overwhelmed, right? They get overwhelmed with all the different parts and they're like, I was a guy with a good idea, right? Like,
Mhm.
I don't know how to market. I don't know how to make a product. Do you know what I'm saying? And because this is what I've come across. And that's really when they start getting in their way because
Yes,
I've worked with a few people who they had a really great idea and that was about it. But yet because they had the great idea, they felt like that meant they were qualified to run the business
Mhm.
and they were the bottleneck. They stood in the way of progress. And it was difficult to work with and for them, mostly because I saw the potential. I
Yeah,
saw what it could be. And it just killed to see it stop and become stagnant like that.
because they got in their own
Own way.
way,
Exactly.
which is not being open-minded. Because if they were open-minded, then they would recognize they need other people with different strengths than
Hmm.
them to be on their bus, so to
Yeah.
speak, on their team, so that those folks can utilize their strengths, marketing,
Yes.
accounting, operations,
Mhm.
whatever that might be, so that the one who had the brilliant idea, the inventor, shall we
Yeah.
say, for
Yeah.
this example, they can continue inventing and then traveling around doing the dog and pony show about how
Yep.
great this product is
Mhm.
while everyone else is helping to run the business. So
Yes. Yeah.
being gutsy is in part being
Open.
open-minded and coachable. And I mean that
Yes.
in general because they're willing to learn for
Mhm.
themselves, learn about others, build those relationships, and listen to their customers as well.
Because they're not expected to know everything. They're just expected to be open to learn more. Okay,
If they
so
could only know that.
if they could only know that. Okay, so for our listeners that are joining us today, looking to inject more gutsiness into their business approach, what's one action step they can take today?
There's challenges everywhere. Put those challenges up on a list. Pull people in as appropriate to help you prioritize those challenges that will help your bottom line, that will
Mhm.
help your people as well, that will help your processes, etc. Prioritize them and hit the very top one to dive in and address it one at a time. Because doing it one at a
Mhm.
time will at least move you forward
And it's
to
manageable.
right,
It's
exactly.
manageable.
And
Yeah.
they have a goal, they comprehensively plan it, take action, and then celebrate.
Absolutely. I love it. Thank you so much for joining us today, Christina. This has been a lot of fun. You can find Christina on LinkedIn, Chrystina Katz with a Y and Katz with a K and a Z, but you'll find her correct spelling below in the podcast description, or feel free to connect with her on her website at ChrystinaKatz.com. And for more information on how you can scale the chaos, head on over to my website, www.scalethechaos.com. You can also find more of our podcasts on scalethechaos.com/podcasts. I'm Rhonda Lea. We'll chat more next time.